No, I don't think so.
That is a good question. The Fiora ban again. This time I'm not surprised by it. That was in the last game. If you weren't watching game 1, you'll be surprised by the Fiora ban, but clearly that is a pick away from, or ban away from Warrior Lady. So
yes, it's certainly something that she is definitely known for. I keep calling it she. Very likely he at the other end of it.
I tend to go with the champion.
Yeah, I will try and go with the champion gender,
Yeah.
but when there's lady in the name, I can't get it out of my head, so I keep going with she. I spent the entire last game calling the trick top laner a she because we were playing Irelia the whole time. Apologize for this.
It's okay. 4 bans through already, so nothing different yet.
No,
Lulu banned out
sticking is. I mean, the Gnar ban has got to come from Sparta this time around. They're that red side, so if they don't, it'll be first picked off by DD. But what is DD's final ban? They now have a bit of freedom. They had the Gnar last time, so what is their change-up option now that they don't have to ban him out?
Oh, wow, okay.
They have nothing else that they'd rather ban.
I think that's kind of a gift to Sparta, because at that point you just ban something standard, maybe like a Java.
The same again anyway.
Yeah, but I think that was because they were banning Gnar. I feel like if Gnar was available, Sparta would have to have banned Gnar. I would have banned Jarvan here if I was on different dimension.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's plenty of other things you could have banned there, but DD would much rather ban Gnar than banning the Jarvan.
Yeah.
They would happily give the Jarvan up.
And now do they put Warrior Lady on Irelia? Do they go for that first pick? Do they take the Corki? Because that would be probably the best pick that they could go for right here.
Knowing them, I would take the Corki, but they first locked in the Maokai. No, but here's the thing, though. Normally you think, oh, okay, obvious top laner pick Irelia, job done. But they've just shown that they will happily jungle the Maokai. But then at the same time, you can't really counter the Irelia, so what do you gain from that mind game?
It's not only that, but I don't think that Maokai, regardless of whether you want to jungle it or not, is that higher priority. The only thing would be if you locked in Irelia and they locked in Maokai, sure, you don't have it as a jungle pick, but is Anon Psycho really that one-dimensional that he can only play Maokai in the jungle?
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, he's not a very high pick. Irelia's Corki's plenty of others, so the only reason you do something like that would be a mind game, would be to try and lull them into something false, make them believe something untrue. What do you gain from any of those? The mind games that I immediately think of and the thoughts that go through my head when I first see that Maokai pick is done. Free Corki and Irelia picks.
Yeah,
I don't see any downsides to grabbing those champions.
That's the other option.
Sparta do, however, grab that Jarvan too. Is this going to be Magebane picking Sona, as we've seen in every single game since? Because
Sona
now
Corki?
they can't get his Z. Yeah, Sona Corki go. But Jarvan Z locked in there from Sparta as their first two. Right on the buzzer at the last second.
Now, every mid laner, I feel, has to play Z. Schleyer does play Z. He plays pretty much everything you'd expect from a standard mid lane champion, but I felt like Magebane did such a good job. That has to be a pick away from Magebane rather than Schleyer saying, okay, give me Z.
Yeah, I think very much so.
Oh, and no Sona.
I split it that around. But no, but he got the Nami, and more importantly, they got the Corki, which is what they really, really wanted. So, if I'm Nono right now,
what do you pick?
I mean, if I'm Nono right now, my pride would probably saying I can do Sivir again. I'll be fine. I can do Sivir better. But that's also why I'm sitting here and not in there.
We know that Nono does prefer the Corki over the Lucian. Corki is somewhat better against Lucian once you reach that kind of end of the laning phase, early mid-game phase. And I wonder whether Nono is confident enough in his Lucian to command that early laning phase, or whether we'll see the Ezreal. That's a champion that Nono...
That is Nono's champion from back in the old school Season 1, effectively, LCS, original LCS split in that spring. When Nono was here, right with... Oh, God, so long ago. And this time he's got it up there alongside Schleier's Sona, which is a big poke combo lane.
Yep.
But it does fall down when it comes to getting through those creep lanes. Of course, you can hide behind the creeps themselves. And then, of course, Ezreal has a hard time dealing out that damage, which Corki doesn't mind doing, because he's already pretty short range behind there. Wild Panda, though, is hovering over Aramis. I've seen it a couple of times from challenger teams in the last couple of weeks. Wouldn't surprise me too much, and it does mean that Maokai is top.
It's a very solo queue pick, is what I will say. It has great single target disruption, waiting for it to get locked in. This would be a great single target team.
That is incredible at picking out one person and throwing them to the floor.
Yeah, and it's going to lock.
It's going to stick.
So,
So
yeah.
Rammus in the jungle.
Yeah, Rammus has been played a lot on the 4.19 patch in solo queue. Pretty much started being very disruptive in that ranked 5s, but that leaves...
No Irelia at all.
Yeah, no Irelia. This is the first game where we will not have Irelia featured, but this is a very common matchup that was introduced to us again at Worlds. Rumble into Maokai is a pretty good lane for Rumble.
Yeah, he's going to comfortably sit up there and have not too much of an issue against this Maokai while he comfortably farms, gets up everything he wants. And it's a great way to stop a Rumble running at your team.
Yes.
Drop an equalizer down and, sorry, not a Rumble, Rammus rolling at your team. Drop an equalizer down and separate him from his own squad, who then, of course, can't come in and back him up. So we'll see if Steve's equalizer placement is indeed on point. But other than that, the rest of Sparta's lineup is a little bit sporadic. There's no obvious cohesion behind anything other than Jarvan and Sona, and that Rumble ult to kind of separate things.
I feel like at this point they're kind of saying, let's go for a very poke-heavy 4 members with Zed on the other side to split push, because that's what Zed's going to want to do. Rumble, Ezreal, Sona are all going to poke very heavily against this kind of composition. So different dimension. Although they themselves have a fairly good siege kind of poke composition too, this is all about the skill shots, this game. Really is.
Which makes it incredibly volatile, incredibly... I need to find new words. Explosive has been coming out of my mouth too much today.
Christmas is around the corner. I'll get you a thesaurus.
Give me the thesaurus. Thank you, Stress.
No
You're
worries,
so
buddy.
thoughtful.
Or we could crowdsource again.
I was about to get to that. Don't forget, guys, at LOL eSports on Twitter. We're reading through your tweets all day long between games, after games, and of course for a little while, I think, once these series are finishing, because we're going to have plenty of them to read. And use the hashtag LCS expansion to join the conversation. Give us your thoughts on the teams, give us your thoughts on the players. Of course, these are going to be a new set of players to a lot of viewers. If you have any standout favorites, anyone you really want to see in the LCS, tell us about them. Talk to us, tell us why, give us your reasoning behind it, and maybe by the end of this tournament, you may just get your wish. But we are in and onto the Rift. This time around, Sparta are our red team in the top right-hand corner of the map, up against different dimension as the blue squad down in the bottom left. Again, nothing screams at me that this level 1's going to be any different to anything else we've seen all day long. 5 members, 5 jungle entrances, 5 wards.
Indeed. I couldn't have summed it up better myself. You've just taken everything. The only thing left to say is how actually surprised I am at just how cohesive different dimension were in that last game. I expected them to put up a fight. I did not expect them to essentially just make Sparta their chew toy for about 20 minutes of that game.
They started out slowly. And it seemed like Sparta were grabbing the leads they wanted, grabbing the little advantage and getting 1 or 2 things here and there. But as soon as we went for that first fight, it's very, very close, very, very close, very, very close. And then suddenly DD came out with all these extra kills and never stopped from there. All the way through. They're just constantly getting more and more. But slight change from the last couple of games. Soon as that sapling spotted Rumble in that top bush, Sparta have made the call to lane swap.
Yeah, that's a very interesting start. And Steve is actually selling this lane swap. He's doing his best job of acting by sticking around here long enough.
Well, he doesn't lose anything from using his teleport to get down to that bottom lane. So stick around, sell it, make different dimensions believe that he's staying there the entire time. Then just teleport down to the tower, have it in a short cooldown, and really throw them off guard. Or as their other option, which is what he's doing right now, going for an invade here with Sona supporting.
Yeah, Steve has actually managed to hold his overheat well into that danger zone here, which at level 1 takes pretty precise timing to do because you can't stack it up in advance. But we do have a little bit of a graphical error here, so it may be worth jumping out of the game for a second.
We'll get that sorted.
We'll get that sorted. You'll have to put up with it for a second while the ranged minions flash like they're in a disco rave.
I like that. That's pretty trippy.
I wouldn't if I was playing. I'm going to say that much.
Yeah, it's true. We're glad none of the players have it, of course. Otherwise, we'd have had a pause and had a fix from them. But We can't yell at them and make them pause the game because we have problems. It does look like Sparta are finding how they actually want to properly steal this buff away. Steve did run into the river and wait for a bit in a little safety while Sean's did his own blue buff and then he's made his way up here. But look at this. As soon as they saw them in the invade, DD trying to send Rammus down to take the blue buff and counter it away to try and avoid himself being 3-buffed. But it's too late for that. So massive advantage here for Sean's already. And then Steve teleports to lane and didn't miss out on too many minions at all.
Yeah, it should go okay for Sparta from this start. And no real mess-ups here with regards to the early jungle. But dropping low in the middle lane is Magebane. Stays alive, though. But that was a pretty good gank out of Sean's. Did he manage to force a flash? Yes, he did. So flash now not available for Ari.
So, very early summoners gone in a 1v1 situation is far from ideal for any mid laner, let alone DD, who now has, or DD's Magebane, who now has to deal with an aggressive Jarvan, who has an advantage for a 3-buff, who has that level advantage and that prolonged double buff, coming out of seemingly nowhere before she has her ultimate and without any kind of way to dodge his knockup.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a different start to what we've normally been seeing in games. We haven't really seen too much in the way of lane swaps all weekend long. And different dimension, are they comfortable in this kind of position? Can they make sure their coordination is in key for another game? Because it was in the first, I can tell you that much. But that is the big question.
So, Rammus is hiding around behind this bottom turret. There's a ping on it from Sparta. They're going to go for it. Teleport coming down from Maokai. Bubble hits Steve. There's the knock-up and the taunt. Steve's going incredibly low, and First Blood goes to Nami.
Maybe not the best person to get First Blood onto, but First Blood is First Blood nonetheless.
And with 4 members down here, they could push this turret down if they wish to.
Sean's is here, but I don't think he's really strong enough to deter 3 members here. And even Wild Panda is going to get an early pink ward. That is a very early ward to go down here by this middle lane.
He's now roaming straight up towards the mid lane where Slayer is still being quite aggressive. He's got a charm and a bubble to dodge. He's only got 1 W shadow. Instead, in fact, uses it to do damage onto Wild Panda because Magebane didn't seem to want to take that fight.
Yeah, he didn't seem to want to take the fight at all. We will get the little graphical error sorted as soon as possible, guys, but it will take a quick rejoin of the game when, in fact, we do get the opportunity to. So we don't want to miss any of the action here, as this is a very important game between Different Dimension and Sparta.
Yeah, Magebane still taking all sorts of punishment from Slayer. He's close in the CS, but the lead is starting to open up in Zed's favor. And, well, if Lune and Sean's keep sticking around the lane, it's going to keep going further that way, of course, with all this babysitting that's coming around. But we do, in fact, see DD making an interesting call to counter-swap back the opposite way and send their duo lane top now, giving up the control they'd previously been gifted of that bottom dragon half of the map. And, well, we'll see if it pays off for them. They are slightly behind in CS because of it, because of the time they've lost out of lane that Sparta haven't had to do yet. But other than that, the AD carriers are fairly closely matched. And because Corki recalled, he got that extra item.
Magebane, not quite level 6, doesn't have his flash available and is playing very aggressive. And Sean's is waiting in the wings, looking maybe to bait in Magebane onto Slayer.
He wants to get these creeps. He wants to get in close, and that's Sean's Q. Goes in with a flash and a knock-up. Does hit Magebane, no flash. The Ignite's ticking. Slayer flashes under tower to finish him off. Does take a couple of shots, but a kill's a kill.
Up in the top lane, there was a little bit of a trade between these two. Here comes Alan Psycho.
He's bombing out, forcing a flash. No has to dodge that bubble. Otherwise, that would have certainly been his death. But ultimately, still 1 kill apiece, and the gold levels are still very, very even. But Ari having an incredibly tough time, 1, getting CS, 2, the fact that she just had to buy 2 cloth armors and rush into a Zhonya's instead means that she's going to have a very, very tough time getting the items that she needs. I've just got a word from our producers that we can drop out of this game and restart it to get rid of this quick graphical bug, so the game will be off your screens momentarily, but we'll make sure you don't miss anything too important. And of course, I can keep going a chatting radio style if so needs be. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing yet back. In fact, we've got 3 recalls coming out of Sparta, so nothing going to happen while those guys are on the base. And this fix will not take too long at all.
We are already loading back in. So, I know it's a brief pause in the game. Nothing really is going on right now. We've managed to get
It's very exciting
nice
as Ezreal and Jarvan run through the base with their new items. In fact, let's go. So Ezreal bought himself a Phage on that back, and now it's on your screen. So there you have it. Nothing at all missed. And Rumble got so lazy he used his teleport.
There we go. Minions are attacking minions with attacks, not giant blue squares. So, not too bad now that we are back into game.
So, first blue buff respawns are up as well. Shawns is grabbing his one and passing it straight over to Schleier. Now, you also got to remember that Anon Psycho doesn't necessarily know exactly when his respawn is, as he was not there when it died. It is up, but does he know about this? And are Sparta going to do anything to stop him from finding it? Doesn't look like they are. Shawns is still miles away, and to be honest, now with the lane swapped back the other way again, Sparta have sent their AD carry support bottom and don't have the numbers they need to contest that blue buff.
Yeah, I will also get colorblind mode sorted out when we do have a spare second, but there is a lot of action going on around the map, and we really don't want to miss anything because this really is...
In fact, Warrior Lady taking a lot of damage in the bottom lane. Oh, forced a flash as Nono uses his ultimate. But, yeah, ultimately does stay alive because of it, and that opens up the opportunity for Sparta to drag. And this is what DD sacrificed by sending their AD carry support combo top. They don't have the numbers down here to do anything about this dragon fight at all, and it will be completely free for Sparta.
It will indeed. No contest available, and Sparta are looking a little bit stronger here in this game. It's a good early start for them, but they had a decent start in the last game, and now it's whether they can settle into it. Can Different Dimension pull out the same kind of, I would like to say comeback in the early game, but they had a good start.
Steve just gets completely dropped in the top lane. 3 members. Rammus was up there again. Dominant and Wild Panda landing every single ability. Bubbles after phosphorus bombs and taunts. Nothing that Steve could have done to get out of that, which is why he still has his flash up too. He knew it was too little too late. Did try and take the equalizer down to take Rammus with him, but it was not enough.
Things are going from bad to worse in the middle lane, though, from Magebane now.
Oh, sorry, bottom lane. Warrior Lady's being caught out again. The slow is there, and this time he has no flash. Twisted advance onto Lune. He's got the Vengeful Maelstrom up to try and stay alive for as long as possible. He's, in fact, trying to turn the damage back onto Lune. Pops the Vengeful Maelstrom for the damage, but the Summoner heals there. And Warrior Lady falls to Nono.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Schleier managed to pick up a kill on Magebane as well. Action all around the map here, but Sparta are coming out considerably further ahead now as they are pushing pretty heavily in this mid and bottom lane. But this mid lane, now Ahri is forced onto a Seeker's Arm Guard. Hex Drink has already been picked up by Zed. Teleport is forced out here, and that's only just going to delay them from taking that turret. So, big cooldowns being used.
At least it's the short one thanks to the tower. So yeah, very interesting setup in this middle lane right now, because Schleier is obviously outclassing Magebane's Ahri by a long way, which is, I argue, would be what Sparta are incredibly used to. That's their rank 5 strategy, no doubt. It is that they can outclass in the lanes and then roll on through from there for a long way. And the lane swaps, again, have done exactly what they're needing to, giving them a little advantage here and there. And through sheer experience, it feels like they are just getting out these extra kills. Like Warrior Lady dying 2v1 in that situation is not anything we've seen from 2v1 LCS laners in swaps. Anything along those lines, or people in these hardcore competitive tournaments we've seen often. DD, not quite having that same kind of experience under their belt, just not knowing quite how far up the lane he can go, and paying the price for it. And Sparta using that to their advantage to make sure they can grab objectives and dragons and towers with it.
Indeed, Warrior Lady is a player that is well known, but not too much in the competitive scene. That is the difference you already mentioned about the difference between solo queue and competitive, especially at the highest level when you're fighting for a place in the LCS. There is a lot more pressure to perform right now, and Warrior Lady is pushing up quite a lot, even after getting taken down a little bit earlier on in this matchup. But we are slowing the pace a little bit here. It's 2 kills to 3 overall, and it's a fairly even game.
Yeah, the gold numbers are still very close. In actual fact, Corki has a lead over Ezreal despite all these flips around. Warrior Lady and Steve now back fighting 1v1. Steve coming off on the back side of it, though, to be completely honest. Warrior Lady in a very comfortable position for that trade.
Help, though. Ramis is on his way, powerballing up.
Powerballing in, does land. Oh, not quite onto Steve first time round, but we'll get the taunt off all the same. Vengeful Maelstrom in outside the turret range, but the equalizer hits them both. Steve's taking so much damage, but wow, Warrior Lady's going to fall in return. He might get two. He took so much damage from the tower and the equalizer. Steve can't quite catch up to Warrior and on Psycho. But holy, wow, that was close. And in the bottom lane, the turret falls, and Nono and friends stayed way too close for their own good. Nono's forced to flash, but Dominant's going to flash to follow him in too. He's going to keep chasing, and the big one's got enough explosive range. Lune will double kill. Wow, Corki picking up incredible final touches to go 3-0-1.
So where did that go all across the board? That was 3 kills in favor of Sparta.
Ari died too. So saw the pop-up somewhere in that middle lane. Mage Bane and Shawns and Schleyer, took down Mage Bane as well. A grand total of 3 kills in favor of DD.
And 2 for Sparta.
2 for Sparta.
So all across the board, Ari somehow managed to get that kill there, if I'm reading it correctly.
She killed Shawns as well, despite dying herself.
Yeah, exactly. So traded 1 for 1 in the middle lane. Bottom lane went heavily in favor of DD, and that might be what Different Dimension need here. Corki in the last game did such a good job of carrying Different Dimension through to a very comfortable situation in the game. Can they do the same? Corki wasn't banned, and they let Dominant have it. And Nono is on the champion that he loves to play the most. So if he doesn't come up trumps in these next couple of minutes, Sparta could be on the back foot once again, and that will put them in their last chance here to put themselves through to the LCS playoffs or expansion tournament round 2.
So, Wild Panda is being caught out in the Tribush. Knockup is there, but he flashes away from the Ezreal ult. Shawns is going to jump in with the Cataclysm to get the kill, but loses his own life because of it. Anon Psycho now being focused down by Steve, and a good equalizer again. Hits Rumble incredibly hard, but Dominant's returning onto Steve the entire time. Dodges the charm, but it doesn't matter. Now Dominant's got a red buff, and he's looking for Lune and Nono, but they don't have the health to keep that chase going, especially as Schleyer is coming down from mid.
Ooh, Schleyer waits out the charm, though. Knew that Mage Bane was around that area, but this damage Dominant has is incredible right now. He's got that Trinity Force already, but look, he's too low health, can't really sit around this turret. The Trinity Force damage spike has been achieved by Corki, and that means that we're into the point of the game where Different Dimension can look to group, and that's how they took game 1.
And
now they're looking to take game 2.
And Warrior Lady right now is just ignoring Shawns up in this top lane, trying to focus down this tier 2 turret, but Shawns smited away the last minion, and he didn't get the turret in time. Oh, Warrior Lady thought he had all the time in the world. 2 minions was all he needed. Shawns smites one of them, and suddenly he's got none left, and he falls down without taking the turret. Oh dear. And that's going to open up the Dragon for Sparta too, because without that big tanky Maokai there to try and help them out, they can't really take this fight, but they're going to give it a go. Bubble's not going to land. Oh, he stole the Dragon! Phosphorus Bomb takes the Dragon away. And on Psycho now in onto Sean. Complete missed crescendo here coming from Sona. Teleport is going to come down into the lane though from Maokai, which is a long way up. Dominant's getting out and getting safe, but Sean, oh, he does get that EQ away just in time, but Anon Psycho's incredibly low. Pops the ball curl for the defense, and now Warrior Lady's joined in. That's going to help them pick up 1 kill onto Steve. Yes, it will. And down off the other side of the screen, Schleyer fell to Dominant as well. So 2 kills to nothing, and the Dragon to Different Dimension.
Once again, Sparta go for an aggressive play onto an objective, and Different Dimension will punish them. And gonna punish them even further with a turret falling as well here. Different Dimension have picked their gear back up, and they are now 3,000 gold in the lead.
It's exactly the same as what they did in the last game. They held even for a while. They say come from in the lanes. They had a couple of bunches here, lost a couple of bunches there. It's fine. Got 3 very quick kills onto Corki. He hit a power spike ahead of Nono. He got that Trinity Force very early compared to him. And then they started taking fights. And they were rolling over Sparta in these following fights. And I expect to see this game now going exactly the way we saw the last one. Because DD can do this so well, and we've already seen it once.
Yeah, we've already seen it out of them before. But it's all about that execution. Can you replicate that? Because that's what being an LCS team is all about. Can you, day in, day out, every time you have a match against one of Europe's top teams, can you perform on the same level? That is the make or break moment that we are going to find out with this expansion tournament. And top lane, Warrior Lady's about to make a mistake that he's made a couple of times already.
Or is he?
Or is he? He has 3 deaths on him.
Sparta
Steve is here.
have revealed themselves. There are not enough minions to really go for the tower on its own, but they are going to dive Warrior Lady now. He's got the Vengeful Maelstrom up. Goes in onto Sean's to lock him under the tower. Sean's taking a lot of damage and will fall down. Then Warrior Lady drops. It's 1 for 1. The turret is still standing. And in the bottom lane, Schleier's being caught by Dominant and on Psycho. The taunt is all it needs to finish him off, and Schleier will fall. Now Dominant and on Psycho can keep pushing that bottom lane towards the tier 2. And while, yes, they lose a turret in the top lane, it's taking them ages to do so. And in the middle lane, Ahri's pushing a tier 2 turret. DD could still get 2 towers out of this push, despite losing 1 of their own and a player.
Sparta just could not push very quickly. That's one of the drawbacks of Ezreal, that until you're really up there with the attack speed items, you cannot really push towers like that. And Ahri's going to get at least good damage done here. I don't think...
Corki's here too with an army. They're going to grab it. 2 towers, despite losing 1 player and a turret of their own.
Massive play.
Again, with perfect reactions to whatever Sparta are throwing at them. Whoever is pulling the calls for their team, whether it be one person or a group decision, they are very smart.
It is working exceptionally well for Different Dimension here. 18 minutes into the game, they are ahead, and they're leading 1-0 in this series. And my goodness, would this be a storyline if Sparta, the top-ranked EU West team from Rank 5's ladder, fell
to this no-name EU Nordic
well,
team
that's
that
what
nobody
people
thinks
were saying.
has got a chance.
Yeah. I mean, if you watched any of the talk shows coming into this, that, you know, there were a couple earlier this week, and a lot of players talking about, okay, they're Nordic East, we don't really feel threatened by them. Yeah, you feel threatened by them now that you're watching this. I can guarantee you that.
I am very much going to enjoy watching the chat shows and the breakdowns of everything post this game too, because it's really given us, well, not just this game, but the last one as well, and how close we saw Tricked getting, because it's really thrown a lot in and given everyone a lot to think about.
It really has. I mean, Tricked were unfortunate in that last game. It doesn't look like Different Dimension want to leave this up to luck. They don't want to be unfortunate and miss out. They want a composition that fits their playstyle very well, and they have done so with 2 obscure or more obscure junglers than you would normally see. And maybe that's unsettling Sparta. They're not quite used to it.
So, where do you go from here, DD? You took a couple of strong fights. You have a 4,000 gold lead and a 3-kill lead. 5 turrets to 2. Don't want to throw it away at a Baron. I think you know this. I mean, I'm sure you'd be willing to let Sparta try and risk another Baron, but this time you've got it warded far better than before, so you'll definitely be sure it's coming. So what are Sparta looking to do? They are grouped. They are trying to find picks here, there, and everywhere. But everyone, DD, is back and safe inside their own jungle as they're looking for the next quick item pickup. Ezreal is on 900, nearly 1,000 gold in his bag, which isn't quite enough to finish off what looks to be a possible Infinity Edge next, or Bloodthirster and part of his last Whisper already. So wait and see which way he chooses to take that. Ahri's got a DFG up finally now, and is sitting on enough gold for not a whole lot else, so she's just finished that out. Nice big power spike for her again too. And with the Mikhail's Crucible, it's about to make it a hell of a lot harder for anyone on Schleier to lock down one target of DD and finish them off. By which point, the 2 big tanky members of DD are going to be right in Schleier's face again. And with 2 lockdowns, with a taunt and a snare, Schleier can't do anything to these squishy targets on Different Dimension.
Yeah, they will be able to just free him from any kind of danger, but Different Dimension playing this a little bit risky, if I'm being honest. Dominant is very far up, and Schleier is looking to engage on this Dominant. You have to know this is coming.
He knows it's coming, he knew he was there, but he's got Rammus in support, so they're trying to bait it out. Crescendo misses completely. They're trying to turn the damage onto Schleier, but they do manage to pick off Corki first. Schleier now trying to get away from Warrior Lady. Luna is incredibly low too. In comes Sean. They did get the teleport down from Warrior Lady, but it's a bit too little too late. Rammus falls. Now Ahri's come to join. She kills Sona, but they're still trying to get too many. It's a 3-man bubble, but there's no damage to follow it, and DD bit off more than they can chew with that one.
Not too sure what Different Dimension were doing there. There was no reason for Dominant to be pushed up like that. The tower is already gone. You don't need to be that far up in the lane, and Different Dimension had the advantage, and Now they're going to get stalled out a little bit because
Looking
this
for
dragon...
a multi-man bubble again. Here it comes. Does hit onto Steve. Is the charm
That's
there
Steve
as well?
gone.
And the ignite. They might get Sean's as well. There's a second ignite onto him. Sean's will fall. Nono's got no mana, but Schleier's back in now. Death by a Grasp is still off. Magebane looking for one more charm, but Schleier does so much damage. There's the charm.
And
Oh! It doesn't quite catch Nono enough on the way back. He flashes forward for 1Q and dashes away again. So wastes his flash. Magebane and Wild Panda stopping that dragon and picking up 2 kills for Ari.
Credit to Magebane, that's twice. Oh, dominance here.
Is he going to flash it? He's going to flash it. He's looking for Slayer and he finds it. And Rammus kills Ezreal in Nono's jungle. What is going on?
Somehow Different Dimension are cleaning up fights so well at the tail end of this. Rammus doesn't even, this sounds really stupid, Rammus doesn't even have home guard. And he cleared that much distance on the map that early on. Gets
he does have Moby Boots,
yeah.
and he got 2 power balls off in that time. But
yeah, exactly.
Still, that's how long Nono was chasing Ari for, and that's how much he blew. And again, if he hadn't used his flash for that one last Mystic shot, might have survived Rammus.
But when looking at this kind of situation, Sparta are just time and time again thinking that they've got the advantage, then chasing, and somehow Magebane is trading kills very well. He's picking up at least 2 kills every time they're trading away 1. And if you have a player like that that consistently can consistently do that, that's a playmaking mid laner that really you have to watch out for.
6,000 gold lead now then. 4 kill lead, 16 to 12 in favor of Different Dimension. Still on 5 turrets to 2, but they did grab themselves another dragon thanks to all that scrappy play backwards and forwards. So they're stretching out this objective lead. Schleier is back to trying to split push down in the bottom lane. There is 1 turret, or 2 turrets, sorry, there. One of the outer turrets left standing and waiting for him. The last one for Sparta to get. And I don't think Different Dimension are going to waste too much on trying to stop him doing so. Instead, they've got a Rammus that loves to run at things, and they may just engage on these 4 if Sparta are not careful. So we'll see how they do that. They did lose a lot of vision control around the Baron area because Sparta were back out on their respawns and their shops faster, but they're trying to get that control back and doing so very well at the moment.
Obviously, they saw Schleier down in that bottom lane, but can they work anything around the Baron area? They're looking to just get that vision control here.
Because Magebane's down there at the moment too,
exactly.
So he went down to make sure Schleier didn't keep going to the tier 2 turret, so they can't take anything more than just vision at Baron.
But can Sparta rush down this middle lane? That would be a decent play by them if they can get the position, but they look to be maybe getting surrounded, and I think they sense it. I think they sense the setup here from Different Dimension to enclose Sparta in front of that turret.
Had been very quiet for quite a long time. They are now rotating back towards Baron to try and switch control of that vision back into Sparta's favor. Have done so far, but they missed 1 ward that's actually in the Baron pit itself. But they know so, and they had to leave it because Different Dimension are hard pushing up the middle lane now. Dominant grabbed the red buff and is coming to rejoin his team, and I can hear the Powerball going. It looks like Sparta are backing away safe enough this time around, but Different Dimension are definitely looking for that opening. They feel strong enough, they feel confident enough. They're just waiting for 1 wrong step from somebody on the Sparta lineup.
But Different Dimension have forced Sparta all the way back to their top lane behind the inner tower, and it was already that low from Maokai not quite getting it, so DD run up, hit that once, and that's already a big spike in the gold again.
In doing so, they're going to grab a lot of vision control all over this red side of the red jungle. Completely cover it, completely take away Sparta's vision, and they could then start the Baron out because of it. They do just that. They start nuking that down. Sparta are 2 members in base, 3 members closing in as quick as possible. Baron is down by half of its health, and Sparta are nowhere to be seen. It's going down incredibly quickly, and Warrior Lady's there to try and stall Sparta. This Baron will fall before Sparta get close. Can they now disengage the fight? Crescendo and Equalizer is a beautiful combination, but they may not have done enough damage in enough time. We do look at everyone dropping low as Schleier gets onto Corki in the backside. Is it enough?
Alone.
It is enough. Corki's the first to fall, but then there's 3 kills here for Sparta. Warrior Lady and Wild Panda, the last 2 left up. Warrior Lady doing what he can to get some kills, but it's not enough, and it's a 4-for-1 trade for Sparta this time.
Finally, Sparta find themselves a fight that is able to put them ahead, maybe just for the momentum's sake for now, but Different Dimension take the Baron and really end up losing that fight from it. Yes, you fought over the Baron. Yes, you got the Baron, but disengaging from it is another story against this lineup. Crescendo and Equalizer is too good around the objective areas to actually disengage properly, and Different Dimension are going to get slowed down a bit from that. They still are ahead.
They also would have still had the debuff ticking on them from Baron at that point, so they would have taken the extra damage. But that's still not to say that they can shrug it off and just carry on as normal. They have to be very, very careful how they progress from this point onwards. They do still, however, have a 5,000 gold lead, 1 kill lead, and 4 tower lead. But Sparta got to be very, very happy with that, considering the route this game was taking beforehand. They can now put a little bit of a smile back on their face. We already mentioned how emotional of the players they are. Quick win like that will do wonders for them. Let's have a look down at the items that people have managed to pick up then because of those fights. Ari's got herself her Zhonya's, which she did have in the last fight, but didn't do too much to keep herself alive. She's got another blasting wand on top of that. Corki has his Bloodthirster Infinity Edge, and Trinity Force Complete is in the bottom lane. Slayer and Magebane are going head to head. Slayer's doing everything he can to dodge around and get Magebane's damage down. Magebane will pop that Zhonya's, so now Warrior Lady is here. Slayer doesn't quite have the damage, and he's just about dodging away, but now in the middle lane, the Crescendo went on Anon Psycho. Steve is here with as much damage as he can. Anon Psycho is trying to dodge away from the Ezreal ultimate, and DD have disengaged from this for now. Steve, though, is collapsing into one side, gets the slow onto Dominant. They're trying to keep chasing. Dominant now may have been off more than he can chew. He does get the kill and flashes away after getting Steve. Now they get down Rammus. It's 2 for 2 so far. Dominant's trying to keep away from Slayer, but Warrior Lady's there to lock him in. Slayer has one to attack from Dead. They trade with Zed and Corki, but it's a triple kill for Dominant. Lune's left standing, but it's 4 for 3 in favor of Different Dimension.
And they can push from the mid lane right now as they're looking at the tail end of that fight. Man, Dominant did such a good job of positioning around that fight. Slayer was trying to keep track of him using all of his shadows, and somehow Dominant managed to just delay him for long enough that he actually ended up trading those kills. 9, 3, and 6 here for Dominant on a second great game on Corki.
It was brilliant watching him play that fight. Watching him go for Steve, I thought he'd been off way too much, but as soon as he got the kill, Jarvan EQ flagged to where he was. He flashed back the other way and into lane and was actually in a safer position than he was before, away from everyone on Sparta, dancing with him, dancing with Zed, picking up both. Really, really nice to watch. Dominant, whether it's on DD or not, is an amazing AD carry that I would be surprised to see sticking around for quite some time after this event.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to wonder, is it the team setting him up? Is it his presence as an AD carry? That is a good question to figure out the answer to, and we'll only really be able to answer that with more games, which I hope to see at a Different Dimension. But I know there are a lot of Sparta fans. They are pretty much the hope of France, Sparta
yeah,
are.
They
so,
are an all-French lineup. That would make sense.
There's a whole country relying on Sparta getting through this, not to pile on more pressure.
I'm going to go ahead and say there's a few people in France that don't care about League of Legends yet. I emphasize on yet because we'll get that
We'll
point,
get them.
But it's not quite as big in France as their perhaps football lineup is at the moment.
That's what's football.
Oh, Jarvan has gone in onto Wild Panda, trying to cancel the recall. Does force the ult out from Nono, but Wild Panda's still caught in the Cataclysm. Mikhail's on himself to try and keep going. The bubbles there onto Sean. The Equalizer comes down, but it's not going to be enough. Now, DD, are they looking to re-engage? I don't think so, yeah.
Cataclysm and Equalizer used already. That is 2 massive parts of their teamfight.
But without having Nami bubbles in their own teamfight, how strong is DD's?
Well, yeah, that is a good point, but Nami is going to get back to the fight far quicker than those cooldowns are going to be available, and you can see DD are pushing all the way up here. They may have caught Sparta. They still are waiting for Nami.
Goes around the corner. They don't have the Nami ult yet, but there's so much damage onto Sean's that he's the first one to fall down. Crescendo will hit 2 onto Dominant, but Slayer's done all the damage he can. Slayer will dance back away, but Rammus is next to fall. Down goes Steve now on that rumble. Lune's on the run. Nono is trying to get out of there. There's a triple kill for Corki coming in. Nono's going to go over that wall any second, but Warrior Lady's close behind. Bubble will be there for movement speed. Dominant, is he going over?
No.
No, he's not. He's playing it safe. Not getting greedy for those kills, but there's 4 members left up for DD. They did kill 3 members of Sparta, and this could be an easy inhibitor.
It will be an easy inhibitor. That was a great crescendo. I thought For a second, different dimension were the ones with Sona, so I thought they missed the Z, but no, brilliant crescendo on the 3 remaining members of different dimension, but it wasn't enough again, and I feel like we're saying that time and time again, that Sparta are lining up some of their crowd control, but different dimension are just positioning around the fight very well and getting Dominant right into the spots he needs to be in.
Sparta focused everything there on killing Dominant. The crescendo hit him, Slayer went straight for him, the equalizer was put down as close to him as possible. That is all Sparta are trying to do, but the problem is Dominant's doing such a good job, and his team are helping out with the Mikaels and the Aegises and the Lockets, keeping him alive, that while they are focusing on him, Ari, who's still very, very strong right now, is killing the rest of Sparta. And then when Sparta have got nothing left to try and kill or to lock down Corki, Corki comes back and says, right, now it's time to clean up, and picks up triple kills, quadra kills, and more, just like we saw before. And he's now 12, 3, and 6.
And he is exceptionally strong right now. Has picked up the Quicksilver Sash. That means, well, he had it for the last fight, by the way. That means Slayer is not going to be able to completely obliterate him as the fight starts. And you have to feel like that is a very important section of their team fight as we head towards the next Baron spawn. 12 seconds to go on that timer. And are Sparta in position? Are they ready for different dimensions setup here? Because they've already cleared out a lot of the wards around this Baron area. And take a look at the vision. It is all dark around the Baron pit.
If DD aren't careful, they could be caught out of position by a Sparta mid-push here. They're not going to be quick because there are super creeps to go against them, but you don't want to be giving up free inhibitors regardless. Oh, Sparta are going in. No, blinks away from the charm. Magebane has used his ult though. Ramos gets in there, gets the taunt down onto Nono.
Equalizer crescendo.
Beautiful crescendo hit 4 people, and DD are taking so much damage from this equalizer. Nono's ult goes out, and Nami's the first to fall. Everyone is very, very low in different dimension, and they're turning to run.
He turns.
Zed picks up, Zed falls down onto Dominant, but Dominant's now fighting Sean's, and Nono's is in there, but they're still so low. Sean will fall, Ezreal will fall, DD is still coming out on top. Steve is trying to get onto Magebane just before the Zhonya's finishes, but he won't do it. Steve will fall. Magebane's still standing. It's an ace for different dimension, and they might have enough time to end.
30 seconds is the lowest death timer right now, and different dimension are going to at least push through. They can't take the Baron because they just don't have enough health, but again, I cannot sing the praises of Dominant enough in these fights. His positioning means he's always trading kills with Slayer. If Slayer manages to get onto him, it results in at least, or at minimum, a 1-for-1. And man, is Dominant very, very strong on this Corki.
They don't manage to end the game just yet. Those 3 members left up don't have the pushing power they required, but they do have enough to get in here, tank down, and start the Baron. There's super creeps in the Sparta base, but they got to deal with those first before they come out. And even though these are the tanky players, they've got Magebane back now. Then the Baron is down halfway. Zed's in the top lane, but he's just clearing creeps. Doesn't think he's going to be able to get here in time to stop the Baron. To be honest, if he came straight here, he may have actually managed it. But he has not. Nono's ult will be their only attempt, and they realize how slow it was actually going, but nothing they can do about it now. Baron picked up then by a different dimension for the second time this game, and this time around, Sparta are not there to do anything about it afterwards. They're going to have to sit back and wait for the next incoming onslaught.
And that is a tense task here for Sparta. My goodness. The back came out from different dimension. We're not going to see the same kind of mistake that unfortunately Trick got forced into, which was sticking around after the Baron and having too much money where you had to back away and give away the objective. But Sparta are backing off as well. And again, we have to reiterate the point. This is the top ranked 5s team from Europe West that are on the back foot. 11,000 gold down here against different dimension, a fairly unknown team from the Nordic East server who are making a big statement here in round 1 of the LCS expansion tournament.
So Sparta are obviously staying within their own bases. Now the inhibitor is back up. They have a little bit of a respite. Different dimension, however, clearing out both jungles, clearing out... Well, they were going for the dragon. They changed their mind because they really don't need it. And now making their way up mid. They know they're stronger. They know they can just bully Sparta around, so they want to get this inhib down again as quick as possible. Going in a little bit before Dominant shows up, but doesn't matter. Sparta are still plenty scared enough of them. And the inhib is down to half health by Dominant Arise.
Sean's actually walks straight out into the middle of the DD lineup and gets caught out. Huge damage goes onto Slayer before he even gets close to Dominant. Now they come back in. 2 kills for DD, 1 for Sparta. Nono is on the run, Luna is on the run, Steve will fall onside his own inhibitor. Nono is the now next focus for Dominant as he dives forward. Luna is just going to stand there and accept his fate. It's a triple kill for Corki and an ace for Different Dimension as they've managed to get everything they need, including the inhibitor, the Nexus turrets and the Nexus, to round this series out 2 games to nothing and take their spot in the round 2 of this EU LCS expansion tournament.
What an upset in round 1 of the online bracket, the online masters perhaps of Sparta. They had so many ranked 5s teams in the top of EU West's ranked 5 queue, and they have just fallen at the first